All right, today we're diving into something you might think is pretty simple, a sanitary pad. But this isn't your average pad. Nope, this is part of a whole new wave of personal care that claims to do way more than just absorb. It's supposed to use physics to actually adapt to your body. So what's the science behind that? Let's break it down. So to really get why this new approach is supposed to be such a big deal, we have to take a quick look back. Forever, the entire point of these products was just one thing: absorption. How much can it hold and how long can it last? That was the whole game. And that really gets to the core question here. For more than a century, sanitary pads have had that one single job. But we live in a world of smart everything, right? So is it finally time for a real fundamental upgrade? If you look at this timeline, a really interesting pattern emerges. You see these jumps in convenience, from belts back in the 20s to sticky strips in the 70s. Then you get better fit with wings and ultra-thin pads in the 90s. But look closely. The core function, it never actually changed. For 100 years, it's been a story of just making the same basic idea a little bit better, not truly different. This is where the product we're looking at today claims to make a huge leap. The idea is to have a pad that doesn't just sit there. The goal is a pad that actively listens and actually responds to what your body is doing in real time. And this quote right here, it pretty much sums up the whole philosophy. True intelligence isn't connecting a pad to electronics. It's making the material understand your body. So we're not talking about Bluetooth or apps or anything you'd normally associate with a smart device. The claim is that the intelligence is literally built into the pad itself. So how can a piece of fabric understand you? Well, the idea is that your body is constantly sending out signals, things like subtle changes in temperature or the ion concentration in your menstrual fluid. This pad supposedly has what's called a biophysical chip. Now, this isn't an electronic chip, it's a material one that's designed to read and react to those very specific physical signals. Okay, so that brings us to the core claims. How in the world does a material supposedly do all of this? The company says it comes down to 3 key technologies. So let's deconstruct the physics of each one. First up, we've got something called magnetic crystal technology. The idea here is that there's a grid of microscopic magnets inside, and they're specifically engineered with one goal in mind: improving your local blood circulation. So how is this supposed to happen? Well, the company claims it's a 3-step process. First, the ions that are naturally in menstrual fluid are said to turn on this magnetic field. This then creates something they call a Lorentz force. The claim is that this force gently acts on your red blood cells, which helps reduce the blood's viscosity, or thickness. Think of it like preventing tiny traffic jams on a highway, just to ease congestion and improve the overall flow. All right, the second piece of tech is called far infrared crystal energy. Basically, the pad has these special ceramic powders mixed in. They're designed to take your own body heat, absorb it, and then radiate it back out as therapeutic infrared rays. It's kind of like a tiny self-activating heating pad that's powered by you. And this claimed thermal effect is pretty fascinating. Your body heat activates the crystals. Then they emit these far infrared rays, but in a very specific wavelength, between 4 and 14 micrometers. That specific wavelength is said to be able to penetrate into your tissue, helping to relieve muscle tension and soothe cramps. And to put a number on that, the claim is that this far infrared effect can increase the dilation of your blood vessels by up to 40%. Now, in theory, wider vessels mean better circulation, which could mean more relief from discomfort. And that brings us to the third and final piece of this high-tech puzzle: a 3D graphene conductor. Now, if the magnetic and infrared tech are the specialized tools, you can think of graphene as the smart chassis that holds it all together and adds a bunch of its own cool functions. Yeah, graphene is the ultimate multitasker here. Its job is to physically hold the magnetic and infrared particles together. It's also claimed to provide antibacterial action, help manage fluid with a special siphon and lock system, and even adjust the infrared output based on your body temperature. It's basically positioned as the central nervous system for the whole pad. Okay, so we've gone deep into the advanced physics. But let's switch gears and see how all of that is paired with more practical, down-to-earth design choices to make the final product. Because, let's be real, all that tech means nothing if the part touching your skin feels terrible. The company makes a big case for using bamboo fiber, and this comparison really shows their reasoning. They claim that when you stack it up against standard cotton or PE mesh, bamboo scores excellent across the board for comfort, for breathability, and for how fast it absorbs. Now, here's a detail you've probably never even thought about: the glue. The company makes a point to draw a big contrast between typical industrial adhesives, which might have irritants and leave that sticky residue, and the food-grade glue they claim to use. The goal is simple: a secure fit that peels away cleanly without leaving any nasty chemicals behind. And you'd think, with all this technology packed inside, it'd have to be kind of bulky, right? Well, get this. The absorbent core is just 0.8 millimeters thick. The whole idea is to make all these advanced features feel like, well, like nothing's there at all. But what about the original job? Preventing leaks? Well, this product claims to have a patented floating design for the core. The idea is that the absorbent part can actually move a little bit, independent from the wings. This supposedly lets it adapt as your body moves, and in theory, that helps prevent those dreaded side leaks. So, we've looked at the physics, the materials, and the design. Let's pull it all together now and look at what this promises: a future of truly personalized personal care. This is really the system in action. It's a series of if-then commands built right into the material. So, if your ion concentration goes up, then the magnetic field supposedly gets stronger to help with flow. If your local temperature drops, then the infrared kicks in to provide warmth. It's presented as this fully dynamic, responsive system that reacts to you. And this brings us right back to that core idea, the one philosophy that's behind all the tech we've just deconstructed. Let the body's signals command the technology. It's a total shift from a person having to manage a product to the body itself being in command. Which leaves us with one last big thought. We've broken down the claims for one specific product today, but the idea behind it is so much bigger. This shift from passive products that just do a job to proactive care that actually responds to our bodies. Could this be the future of all personal wellness? That's definitely something to think about. Thanks for joining us on The Explainer.